Hi girls, confess. How many nail forms have you already tossed in the trash while trying to fit them under the nail? I know that feeling. You twist the template around and it either digs into the skin or slides down and leaves a huge gap where the gel flows right in. A lot of people think they've got crooked hands or bad forms. But hold on. Because let's be honest, placing forms is the hardest stage. The problem isn't how you do nail extensions, it's this picky little paper form. Where do you look? How do you cut it? You cut it, shape it, and it still won't sit right. Familiar? Today we'll figure this out once and for all, this higher level math. I'll show you a fail-proof cutting scheme that will make the form fit under any nail in 1 minute. No nerves, no gaps, and most importantly, no hour-long filing from the inside. Let's dive in. For a beginner, it's important that the forms have a good adhesive base so they don't pop open during curing in the lamp. They should also have extra guidelines so it's easier for you to cut them out. I'd like to focus on this stage in more detail. First, so the form doesn't stick to your gloves or to the client before we even start, I don't remove the backing until I've trimmed the form the way I need. Next, super simple. Tear off one nail form, remove the little window, and cut it out with scissors. This will be easier for a beginner to work with because the form won't annoyingly stick to your gloves every 2 seconds. This will save you a lot of nerves, and while we're doing the fitting and the cutting, the adhesive only gets in the way, so we peel off the backing last. Since our natural nail has a natural arch, before we start the fitting, we bend the form like this so it also takes on the shape of that arch. We fold the little ears back so they don't get in the way and we can slide the form in freely. And then I place all of this onto the nail looking from the top. I center it, basically lining up the central axis, and its main job is to visually compensate for any finger curvature if there is any. Because let's be honest, our fingers aren't always perfectly straight. Everyone has their own idea of straight, but most often straight is when the nail's central parallel is aligned with the second phalanx of the finger. We place the form and you can see that same annoying gap between the nail and the form. Your hand instantly wants to just lift the form up to close that hole. Don't do it. If you simply pull it up, the gap will disappear, but the form itself will shoot upward like a trampoline. And for correct architecture, it has to go straight like an arrow or even slightly downward, depending on the length. So here we switch on your eye. When you look from the side, immediately imagine the future nail. How long will it be? What shape? You need to decide this before nail extensions. Why? Because different shapes require different angles. A crisp square likes a higher angle and an almond needs a lower one. So first, visualize the result in your head so you clearly understand where you need to twist this form, up or down, instead of sticking it on however. We chose a medium length, so we'll place the form straight, and when I hold it up to the finger, it becomes obvious. It simply doesn't reach the growth point areas. It presses into them, and because of that, a hole forms right in the center. To remove this gap, we need to cut off everything that's blocking the form and pushing it back. So I take scissors and deepen the cutout. But attention, I'm not just making it deeper, I'm making it wider. We place it again and voila! The form slides cleanly under the growth point areas and now there's no gap. Next, we need to make notches to free up the side folds so they don't push the form out. I mark diagonal lines from the growth point at a 45-degree angle. If you're a beginner and don't want to mess around with those ears, you can just make simple 7mm deep slashes. That way the form will wrap tightly under the nail plate and the side walls won't get in your way. Or you can just cut out these sections for the walls, round them off a bit, and you'll get these little ears, and on the other side the same way. And only now do I remove the form from the backing and neatly seal the tip together. You have to seal it precisely ear to ear. We make a neat, thin little loop. If there's any shift here, the whole nail will go crooked. This is what the prepared form looks like. We can open the ears, adjusting the finger's tilt level. We place it. We adjust the form's angle. Remember our visualization. And we check the symmetry, so the form isn't going to the side. If you see it still decided to drift left or right, don't panic. Just unstick one ear and correct it. When you're sure everything is sitting crisp, we can pinch the form. We make it a little narrower. From the top view, we should see only a narrow triangle. The form shouldn't be wide or flared. Otherwise, instead of an elegant nail, you'll get a shovel. So here's the million-dollar question. What gel consistency is best for a beginner? Go for a thick gel or a medium viscosity one. Why? Because you'll actually have time to handle it. A runny material will run into the lateral nail folds faster than you can say, oops. Usually it's hard for beginners to work with jelly gels and souffle gels, so for now we're leaving them alone. They take hand agility like a magician's and the ability to place the material properly. Right now, that's just extra nerves. Let's build the underlay. Dip a synthetic brush into the jar, pick up a small amount. Place a bead on the free edge and pull out the length. Attention technique. We work in the air. Don't press the brush into the form. Instead, pull the material only by its upper part very gently. I specifically chose a camouflage material so it's more visual for you. It's easier to learn with. And here's the critical moment, the growth point areas. Make sure you cover them really well with material so there are no cracks. Otherwise, goodbye nail in the first few days. We place the finger on its side. We shape the sidewall. First it goes straight if it's a crisp square and then a smooth lift upward if it's an almond shape. The guidelines on the form show you how to do it correctly. Turn the hand to the other side and place the material on the left. And again, I'm reminding you about the pinky support. If your hand is hanging in the air, the brush will dig into the material, make dents, and you won't get an even surface. Right away, place the material so the nail comes out basically finished. No need to pile up a mountain of gel just in case. And if your hand twitched somewhere and you placed too much, don't worry. Remove the excess while it hasn't set. That's it, into the lamp for 1 minute. And at this pace, like on a conveyor belt, we build the underlays on all the nails. Girls, I never get tired of repeating it. Everything depends on how you place the form, how long the nails will wear, and how beautiful they'll be. This is the foundation. If you mess it up here, no expensive gel will save it. I know it's hard at first, the forms just won't behave, but this is something you have to practice. Keep training your hand and very soon you'll master it. You'll be fitting forms with your eyes closed. Now, an important nuance about length. Forget the grid on the form. Seriously, don't rely on it. We trim the form to fit the nail and all those guidelines shift and become misleading. Want the same length? Measure the old school reliable way. Finger to finger, cuticle to cuticle. And right away, still at the placement stage, remove the excess. Why would you spend half an hour later waving a file around, filing off all that extra gel? Save your time and energy. It's important to place the form correctly with no gaps. Gel will get into any gaps, and under the nail you'll end up with a little step that will annoy the client. They'll start picking at it constantly, and sooner or later they'll just snap the nail off. And all household dirt collects there too, and it looks, well, let's just say, not great. In 99% of cases, the culprit is exactly that gap at the growth points. There's no support in that spot. The material is literally hanging in the air. As soon as there's any pressure, it's bye-bye nail. You'll get a crack right then and there. For the same reason, by the way, nails on dual forms break too. Don't fall for those addictive little Instagram videos. Slap it on and done. Don't fool yourself. Place the form correctly and trim it. The form has to fit your nail perfectly like a puzzle, like it was made for it. No gaps, no openings. So what do you do if the client has asymmetry? It happens. One growth point is higher and the other is lower. Don't be afraid. The form also needs to be cut asymmetrically. In your hands it looks weird, but as soon as you fit it under the nail, everything will line up perfectly. We're done with the underlays. It's time to remove our forms. There's an important nuance here. First, I carefully separate the gel from the paper with my nail. Then I squeeze the form from underneath and pull it straight down. Never pull upward. Our underlay is thin right now, like an eggshell. The underlay thickness is about 0.5 millimeters. One sharp upward move and it will crack. So only downward, gently and confidently. Next, the classics. Dehydrate to remove the sticky layer and quickly file the free edge to make it pretty. During filing, be very careful. Remember that our underlay is still very thin. It can snap in a second. Like I said, since we placed the gel with brains, filing here is minimal. I go over the free edge, make it crisp, remove excess bulk at the tip, and slightly align the apex area so everything is smooth. We always check symmetry, look straight at the free edge, rotate the finger. Everything even? We did great. Brush off the dust, dehydrate. And finally, we can move on to cutting the cuticle. The dirtiest work is behind us. And here you might have a logical question. Why are we suddenly cutting the cuticle right now? Why not at the beginning like everyone does? First, after creating the underlay, we file, and at this exact moment, it's very easy to injure an already cut cuticle with the file and create fraying. Second, we want to apply the gel as flush to the cuticle as possible, and at this stage, it would just get in the way. See? Everything is thought through. Safety and aesthetics in one bottle, a clean manicure will stay clean all the way to the end. By the way, if you're the kind of person who doesn't want to cut the cuticle or you're afraid of cuts, I have a video on a no-cut manicure. No scissors, nippers, or effil. There I show an alternative, how to do a perfect manicure with no blood and no stress. Go check it out, the link is under the video. To build the architecture, I'll take a more runny gel, so it does half the work for us by itself. Dip the brush just a tiny bit and coat the whole nail plate with a thin layer, so the gel can self-level across it. Next, I pick up a big bead and place it right on the highest point of the apex. I start gently pulling it downward. I take the excess back into the jar. I hold the brush at a 45-degree angle and carefully, without rushing, push the material toward the cuticle. We work around the perimeter, start on the left, smoothly pass through the center, and move to the right side. If you get bubbles in the coating, don't panic. You can gently remove them with an orange stick or the brush. Try to keep the finger slightly angled downward so there are no flows near the cuticle. If the material starts spreading to the sides, then we flip the hand over, and with a thin brush I help the material distribute into the correct architecture. We level it out. Imagine you're doing alignment with a base, but you're using a super thick base for it. The principle is the same, and we also remove any excess material. A thin brush is our jeweler's tool. With it, we carefully fit the gel up to the side walls, and right away we pull the material down onto the free edge. Why? So we don't end up with a mountain of gel near the cuticle. If you leave it like that and God forbid polymerize it, congratulations, you'll waste a ton of time waving a file around to file it off. So it's much more efficient and easier for us to pull all the excess down and simply remove the leftovers with the brush. Save your time. The same goes for flows. Any flows must be removed before the lamp. Filing hardened material with an AFL under the cuticle is dangerous. You can get injured. And if you leave it as is, that's a 100% guarantee of lifting. So why do we so carefully bring the material right up to the side walls? It's simple. When we do nail strengthening, the nail has to be in armor all the way around the perimeter. If you get lazy and there's no gel on the sides and the parallels, the nail simply won't handle the load. It won't cope and it will crack exactly in the stress zones. So we coat everything carefully. I'll repeat it again. Watch for flows. It's very important because any flows you leave will turn into lifting 100%. In the end, on the surface, we should see an even lamp reflection highlight. That tells us the surface is even, and now we can confidently send this beauty into the lamp to cure. As for the design, we've got a nude here, but with a bright accent. With this gel, by the way, I have the classic nail tech story. I bought it a year ago because I fell for that cosmic sparkle, put it on the shelf and safely forgot about it. It was just waiting for its moment. And I shouldn't have forgotten it, because look, despite all the glitter, it's thick, it stays in place, and it doesn't run anywhere. It's super comfortable to work with. Right now, this kind of accent minimalism is exactly on trend. So pull out those forgotten jars from your stash. Their time has come. Here's the sparkling result we're getting. But remember, no design will save the situation if the architecture is off. So don't rush to place forms on all 10 fingers right away. Don't try to become Julius Caesar overnight. While you're still a beginner, work in one nail, one win mode. You place the form, build the underlay, secure it, and only then move on. because every finger is different. One grows to the side, another pegs downward, the third one goes upward. And if you stick everything on at once, you'll just get tired of controlling it. That's stressful even for a pro. Do them one by one, calmly and under control. When you get your hand trained, you'll place even 4 at a time. But for now, enjoy the process with no rush. I hope nail forms will stop being your nightly horror now, and that this video helped you navigate these modeling jungles and answered some of your questions. If this video was helpful and I managed to lay everything out step by step, hit like so I know I was useful to you. And if something isn't clear or you have questions, write them in the comments, we'll figure it out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss anything. I won't be gone for long. Bye bye, beauties.